You're about to spend $100 extra on an SSD that won't give you a single extra frame per second. Sure, it'll shave a few milliseconds off the loading screen, but that's basically the whole upgrade. So, does the faster drive do anything? Is it ever worth it? And will you regret the cheap one in 5 years? Let's go through it together. For gaming you need two things. Firstly, you need a terabyte of space. And secondly, you need a sequential read speed of about 3500 megabytes per second or higher. If you clear that bar, then you're basically done. But notice what's not on this list, not the brand, not the generation of the box, not the giant speed number in the ad. Every dollar you put above that bar is a dollar off your graphics card. And that's the part that you feel. One bit of honesty on that speed number, because if you go digging, you'll run into it. The spec that lines up the best with real gaming loading isn't the big sequential read number, it's the random read instead. The small scattered chunks a game grabs while building a level. The problem is you can't shop on it. Manufacturers barely print it, and when they do, they measure it in ways you can't line up between the brands. So unfortunately, the sequential read number is the best that we have. And in practice, any modern drive that clears this bar has plenty of the other, so that's why the bar works. So let's see if the faster drive does anything at all. Yes, but almost none of it lands while you're gaming. The big number on the box is real, it's just measuring something most games don't do. When you play, your PC is reading files off the drive. It barely writes anything. And that headline speed is the best case for one giant continuous transfer, not the small scattered reads a game makes when it loads a level. If you want the honest yardstick, look at what the consoles guarantee, because that's the bar that games get built around. A sensible Gen 4 drive already sits above what a PlayStation 5 demands. The Gen 5 drive is double that again. Games simply aren't written to need it yet, so most of that speed just sits there unused. In real terms, the gap between a good Gen 4 drive and a Gen 5 drive on the same game is about half a second of loading. And no, a faster drive doesn't fix stutter or low frame rates. That's your graphics card and your memory. The drive loads the level and gets out of the way. So that's a no for gaming, but there are 3 times I'll tell you to buy it anyways. First one is real work. If you're moving huge files or editing off the drive, that speed shows up in your day. That's a productivity win, not a gaming one. Secondly, a small group of games that stream an entire world as you move with no loading screens. So think a game that yanks you through portals between different dimensions. It's a great demo, but it's only a tiny slice of your library. Third, and this is the one people miss, prices bounce around. Right now, Crucial's own 2TB Gen 5 drive is $235. The 2TB Gen 4 is $292. The Gen 5 is the cheaper drive right now. So when that happens, go ahead and take the Gen 5 drive. So here's the rule for the rest of this video. Never pay a premium for Gen 5. If it's the same price or cheaper, go ahead and take it. Free speed is free speed. If the reason you're buying it is gaming performance, that's the wrong reason. The chunky heatsink on Gen 5 drives is doing a real job, by the way. They do run very hot and they do need it. The cooling is legit, but I just put the money on a graphics card instead. Which leaves the question I get most. What about 5 years from now? Is a Gen 4 drive still enough, or will you regret not getting a Gen 5? Probably at some point, and it still doesn't change what you buy today. Storage is the easiest part in the whole machine to deal with later. A motherboard or processor locks you in. A drive does not. It's one screw and about 10 minutes. And most decent boards give you 3 or 4 M.2 slots. So you're adding a second drive later, not throwing the first one away. And think about what future-proofing actually means here. You'd be paying a premium today for speed you can't use today. So that in 5 years you own a 5-year-old drive. If you genuinely need Gen 5 in 2031, it'd be cheaper and faster by then. So buying it early is the expensive way to get there. If you're building a small machine with exactly 1 M.2 slot, and you know you'll never open the machine again, then spend the extra money now. But spend it on capacity. Get the 2TB drive, not the faster one. Now, 4 things that trip people up the most. Number 1, and this is the big one, a Gen 5 drive runs only at Gen 5 speed if your motherboard and processor both support it. Drop it in the wrong slot and it just runs slower. This is not a rare edge case. Every budget board I can see in stock right now on both AMD and Intel has no Gen 5 drive slot at all. The cheapest Intel board I can find is $84. And its drive slot is Gen 3. Put a $270 Gen 5 drive in that board and you'll still only get Gen 3 speeds. You paid for a number you physically cannot reach. So check your board spec sheet before buying the drive. 10 seconds saves you $100. Number 2, QLC. You'll get told to avoid it and pay up for TLC. But for a gaming drive, that's a scare tactic. The knock on QLC is write endurance. And gaming reads, you install a game once and then you just load it over and over and over. It has the same read speed and it's $27 cheaper. Endurance only matters if you're writing all day. Think security cameras, a network storage box, a video scratch disk. If that's you, buy TLC. If you're only gaming, QLC is fine. Number 3, SATA. The older, slower connection. It'll work, and on a really tight budget, I won't even talk you out of it. But look at the prices before you do it. 1 terabyte SATA drive is $150 right now. The NVMe drive, that's more than 5 times faster, is also $150 right now. So you might as well get the NVMe. So only go SATA if you can find a really good price. Number 4, and this one is a hard no. Do not run Windows and your games on a hard drive. Not in 2026. The speed of a hard drive is around 150 megabytes a second. Your cheap SSD is 3500. It's not a small difference, it's the difference between the PC that feels new and one that feels broken. Modern games will start loading textures off of it, but hard drives still win one job. It's bulk storage. Think movies, a giant library, stuff you're not playing. Here it's dirt cheap per terabyte, so add one later if you need it, just never make it the drive your system lives on. So the latter. The SSD is the last thing you fund, not the first. Max your graphics card and your processor, then buy the cheapest drive that clears the bar. If you just want the answer, it's the crucial P310. It's 1 terabyte, 7100 megabytes a second, $163. It's a QLC drive that sails past the bar, and it makes the whole point of this video for me. Same brand, same capacity, the Gen 5 version is $107 more for a number your games will never ask for. That's a real chunk for a graphics card. Now look at that 2 terabyte row, because here is where it's a little weird. The Gen 5 is actually cheaper than the Gen 4 drive, so go ahead and take it if it's cheaper. Don't buy it because it's Gen 5, grab it because it costs the least. If you'd rather not weigh any of this up, that's what I built the PC builder at MaxMyBuild.com for. Put in your budget and it picks up the drive that clears the bar, then spends the rest where you'll feel it. Free, no account, first link in the description. So grab the sensible 1 terabyte drive and stop feeling like you cheaped out. You didn't, you bought the part that does the job and kept the rest of your money.